mid-1950s, the United States military was looking for a more reliable firearm. A firearm that would correct all the issues that they had with the M1, however, for the most part. The United States military was looking for a new squad automatic weapon to replace the Browning automatic rifle. Rather than the internal drop-in clip, they wanted the box magazines that were detachable that could hold up to 20 rounds. And they wanted a battle rifle that could be select fire, fully automatic or semi-automatic. Many of the designs for all the different T-trial weapons and prototypes were based off of John Garand's original for the M1. They originally wanted it to be chambered in .30-06, however, as the development and the trials went, that ended up not happening. In 1955, Earl Harvey of Springfield Armory was assigned to the project. One of the important features about the M14 is the caliber of the cartridge round it uses. With Earl Harvey on the job and being overseen by Colonel Ray Studier, whom was high up in the Pentagon at the time, they were determined to develop new round and new firearms. It actually moved them out of the Pentagon and over into the Springfield Armory in Massachusetts. First, however, they were developing new ammunition. In this case, it would be the T-65. Harvey's design was put on hold due to NATO accepting the T-65 round, which later on would be named the 7.62 51mm. Harvey then proceeded to develop a firearm using that caliber. They had developed the T-44, the first prototype for the M14. During this time, Springfield Arms recruited Lloyd Corbett. Lloyd Cobalt is credited for several refinements to the T-44 designs. Refinements included the addition of a bolt roller intended to reduce friction in straight operating rods. T-44 was tested in a competitive service rifle competition conducted by the Infantry Board at Fort Benning, Georgia. Against T-48 was FN's FAL, the light automatic rifle. It didn't have a bolt roller. It performed worse than both the T-44 and the T-48 in dust and cold weather tests. Thus, it was dropped from consideration in 1953. During 1952 to 53, testing provided the T-48 and the T-44 to be roughly comparable performance, with the T-48 holding an advantage in ease of field stripping, dust resistance, and longer product development lead time. However, during the winter of 53, both rifles competed in the winter rifle trials at the U.S. Army facilities in the Arctic. Springfield Armory engineers, anxious to ensure selection of the T-44, had been especially preparing and modifying the test T-44 rifles for weeks with the aid of the Armory's cold chamber. The T-44 was selected over the T-48 FAL due to lower weight, simplicity with fewer parts, the T-44's self-compensating gas system, and because the T-44 could supposedly be manufactured on existing machinery that was already built for the M1 rifle, production would be faster. In 1957, the United States formally adopted the T-44 for the United States Infantry Service Rifle, designated M14. Production of the M14 rifles made by Springfield Armory and Winchester Coalition used forged receivers, bolts milled from AISI 8620 steel, low carbon steel with added molybdenum chromium, except for 10 receivers milled from 1330 low carbon and single receiver made from high nickel alloy. After the 14's adoption, the United States Army in July of 1959 took it into service. Long production delays happened and resulted with the 101st Airborne being the only unit in the Army fully equipped with the new M14 rifles by the end of 1960. The Fleet Marine Force finally completed the change from M1s to M14s in 1961. Springfield Armory records reflect M14 manufacture ended as TRW, fulfilling its contract, delivered its final production increment in the fiscal year of 1965. Springfield archives also indicate 1.38 million rifles were required for just over 143 million for a unit cost of about $104 per rifle. The M14 developed, replaced different weapons, the M1, the M3, the 1918 Browning automatic rifle. The intention was to simplify logistical requirements of the troops by limiting types of ammunition and parts needed to be supplied. Replacing all these weapons proved to be an impossible task. The M14 was deemed completely inferior to even the World War II M1 Garand in September of 1962, as reported to the United States Department of Defense. The cartridge was too powerful for submachine gun roll and not enough power to serve as a light machine gun to replace the M1918 bar. The N14 rifle was unwieldy in thick brush of Vietnam due to its length and weight, and the traditional wood stocks made of walnut and birch tended to swell and expand in the heavy moisture of the jungle, adversely affecting accuracy. Eventually, fiberglass stocks were produced to resolve the issue. However, the rifle was discontinued before those stocks were manufactured and distributed. The power of the 7.6251 cartridge was valued for its range and cover penetration. Despite this, the power of the cartridge also caused the weapon to be virtually uncontrollable in fully automatic fire. As a result, most M14s were permanently set to semi-automatic fire only, and to avoid wasting ammunition in combat. Although marred by numerous shortcomings, the rifle served during its brief tour of duty with modest success. Eventually, it would become replaced by the Armory 15, later on to be accepted as the M16 in 1967. The rifle is still used in small units during certain operations, as well as for long-range rifle competition, as well as ceremonial. Eventually, the United States Army converted several thousand of the M14s into the M21 sniper rifle, which remains standard issue for this purpose until its adoption of the M24 SWS in 1988. Also, the 1969 tooling for the M14 was sold to Taiwan, and many rifles were exported later to Baltic countries and Israel and aid foreign countries in warfare. And although it was phased out standard issue, the M14 variants are still used by various branches of the United States military, as well as other armed force groups, especially as a sniper rifle and a designated marksman rifle. There's instances that have made it pretty famous. One of them would be Randy Shugart, the Black Hawk Down incident, Operation Gothic Serpent. I've always had a fascination with that. The fact that he picked that rifle with a red dot, defending off the helicopter crash site, giving his life and earning a Medal of Honor in return for it. The last battle rifle made, shooting 7.62 round. Like it or hate it, the M14 is a huge piece of military history for the United States, failures and accomplishments. Great things have been done with it, regardless of how many issues that there were with the rifle. And there's great men that have wielded that rifle and done great things as well. Great men helped develop the rifle, and Springfield Armory will forever be known for it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.